And we are live. This is what
Hey!
Maddie was saying. This is
Hey!
the intro, and I stole it from you. Maybe I have to come up with something else. This is
It was open source.
It's
It
open
is open
source.
source.
Yeah.
Code. Hey, we are live. This is the Hex
No,
Stakes.
let's try it all together. 1, 2, 3.
And
we're live!
Oh man, I like that. Yep, maybe that should be the new intro for the Hex Stakes Bubble Tour as well. So, Maddie, we have you here. We are really, really excited. So, let's talk about what happened in the last couple of days. Patrick,
Let's do it.
first, we had a big problem going on here, and Maddie solved that. But Maddie, you go ahead and start talking about how did you came here to America, which airport, and what happened.
Yeah, so I was flying back from Ukraine, as some people know, and we did our 6-hour Quant Gang live stream. And then I hopped on an airplane, came back to Chicago, and you guys hit me up and said, hey, a member of your team was stuck at the airport trying to go to St. Louis, which is where I was driving.
Awesome, yeah. And then we called Maddie up. Hey, bro, we need your help. Can you pick him up? Otherwise, he would miss his flight and so on. And now we have him here. So thank you, Maddie, so much for bringing our friend here.
So,
then-
Maddie, what happened then? So you picked up one of our Hex OGs at the airport, and then you went ahead to the and drove to St. Louis, and you picked up a special car on the way. What I know.
That's right. Yeah. So I picked up the Hex DeLorean for its maiden voyage to join the 5555 tour, which you guys started.
Maddie, for
weeks
everybody
ago.
out there who is not knowing what is a DeLorean.
It's a Back to the Future car.
And I did not know, but of course, the American culture evolved pretty much around filming, right? And this car is in this film in Back to the Future, right? People recognize that so much. Like sometimes we have the R8 standing there and the DeLorean yesterday, for example. People were not talking about the R8 at all. It was just the DeLorean. Hey, I want to take a picture and so on, which is really, really cool. First, when I saw Maddie getting the DeLorean, I thought, well, the R8 is a little bit cooler. But now I realize this is like the biggest marketing stunt here you got. Like this DeLorean is attracting people.
That's right.
Not crypto people, no coiner people. They have no idea about crypto at all.
And it's it's an easy plug for people to understand. Like Bitcoin, Hex is a time deposit, like a bank CD, where you time lock your money and pay your future self. And then their light bulb goes off and they're like, oh, pay my future self, like Back to the Future.
So Maddie, paying your future self. What I know, when you got the DeLorean and drove here with our OG friend, something special happened. So what happened on the ride here?
That's right. It was not a rug pull. It was a magic carpet ride. And what's more is the DeLorean that I have, it went over 5,555 miles for the first time ever.
And also the day was pretty cool that this happened. It was the 21st of October. And this day is also really prominent in the movie, right?
That's the day Marty McFly goes to in the future in 2015. And I had no idea the day I was joining the Cuatro Cinco tour that it would be the same day as Back to the Future Day that people celebrate every year. And I knew that the car was going to go over 5,555 miles, but I didn't know that I would be live streaming it and that I would pull over on the side of the road and do a stake for 5,555 hex for 5,555 days.
Oh man, this is so cool. Like you just did it on the road while it was happening. It feels to me the whole universe is aligned, you know?
Yes.
So many things happen at once. It's crazy. All right. So then you came here to St. Louis and the first meetup happened, right? In our Airbnb. How did you how did you feel about the meetup? Like so many people, right? We talked with them. It was your first event at our tour. How did you experience that, the casual meetup?
I was very impressed. The venue that was chosen, it really kind of embodies or captures what St. Louis is all about. It had a very St. Louis-y vibe. It was a warehouse that had been converted into like a chill spot, hangout spot for a hostel, right? And so tall ceilings, like, old brick building, and just really had a great view of everything. But what's more than the space was the people who showed up. And I was really impressed. There were a number of people there who have watched every hour of Richard's streams and about every hour of Quant Gang. And so these are people who had hundreds and hundreds of hours of the same background information that I do, which was incredible to hear their original ideas and to meet with, people who are OG Hexicans. They're outstanding people.
Awesome. And then what I loved the most, like later on, we went to a rooftop bar as well, right? Where we had the view over St. Louis, the arch, and all those beautiful things. I mean, I'm loving it here in St. Louis. So much fun.
You had a lot of fun, yeah.
So Crypto Sparbook, no, sorry, this was somebody else. I'm just saying, like, thank you everybody for coming by to the stream. Like, the chat is filling up. If you have any question towards Maddie or us, feel free to ask, and also feel free to ask about Hex and Pullchain, of course. So
Let's go to yesterday. So Friday we had a nice meetup, and it ended with a cool party on the rooftop. And then on Saturday, at first in the afternoon, we had a great weather. So we went with the cars next to the arch and got some great shots. The R8 next to the DeLorean, and then we drove over to the workshop, and there we had our social hour 1 hour before the actual workshop started. Most of the time we were outside as well, taking pictures with the DeLorean and with the Hex car. Hexicans were already like coming in, some no coiners as well. And then from 6 p.m. in the evening, we had our workshop, and was like always great meeting new people, great meeting the OGs, creating the wallets, and then with the giveaways in the end. So, Maddie, what did you like the most during the workshop?
During the workshop, the thing that I liked the most was just the entire presentation seemed to be adding a lot for people who are new. I love the fact that stake wrap wallets are being given away because those have a great value to them. I mean, whether it's $20 or $50 for those to get made through the Gnosis safe technology on the blockchain, somebody's paying gas for those to be given away. So yeah, it was really cool to just see your guys' whole presentation, which has never been broadcast before. So I got to see like how you bring people from maybe being a no coiner to knowing enough to get started in Hex.
Yeah, so many people ask us about the workshops, how we do it, and yes, we have not brought the cast them so far because there are some informations in there that we would like to keep premiere only for the workshop. But
And it is a workshop, guys. So what we also try to achieve with our presentation is that we leave out a little some things, that we always have this question and answer in the end. And for example, we have not a single slide in there for pulse chain. We're just talking about it, and then in other slides we only present the slide itself, and then it's about what we talk about it. So that's why it doesn't make so much sense to just give you the presentation. And it's not that much else than some of the charts of hexgraphs.com. So it's just had the hexgraphs.com charts, and then our voices and our explanation what that means right now. And the last part of our workshop presentation is about staking, and there I try to break it down as easy as possible for the whole audience, especially for no coiners, how that they can understand the dynamic interest system of Hex as well, because it's something new, it's something never existed in the world like this before. So it's not the easiest thing to grasp how the Hex staking mechanism works, but we are doing our best. And yeah, Maddie, what is your feedback? Do you think the people, even if they are no coiners, can take a lot out of the workshop presentation, and would be ready to make to get into action after that?
I think there's still too much information.
Yeah, but because I agree with you, but we tried to put out like terms like share rate or terms like T share, but you will come around those, and it's hard to leave them out.
Sure, of course.
well, Also, there's this one thing every single time in the workshop when we talk about T-shares, and then I think about the people that use Staker app. T-shares are not too much discussed in the Staker app, right?
Yeah.
And I think in the future they will handle it even differently. So I'm really excited for all their work they are doing and how the Staker app will look in the future.
Yeah, the only problem is that if you want to explain the interest system of Hex, then you cannot come around it without explaining the T-shares, because it's the T-share pool who gets the daily payout total. So I. But now you're here, Maddie, so we can brainstorm about it, like how we could make a better staking explanation by even leaving those special terms out.
Well, there's so much work that we still have to tackle, like explain so many things and make good videos about that. But maybe we can change the topic here because I have a question for Maddie from the chat. T-Fire is asking, Maddie, any word on hotels for Vegas yet? This would be the next topic I would like to discuss, the online conference and then also the the Hex Online, right, which is an online conference, and then the Hex conference, which will be a physical conference in Vegas. And I think this is what the question was. Are there any suggestions for people to book hotels yet?
The suggestion right now is to wait and stay tuned, right? We're blessed in this community to have so many people who think so far ahead. And so for now, we're just going to hold off because, of course, we're in the negotiating phase of having the space and, the most convenient way to set everybody up. So in the end, we're going to do the planning that's going to work out the best for everybody and communicate that. And then people will be able to choose whether they want to do the plan that we have set up, or people will be able to stay anywhere basically in Vegas. But for those people, who want to be near the center of everything, then we'll bring that to you as soon as we can.
The
And
last time,
for all the people who want to save a little bit more money, then go ahead and book yourself an Airbnb, because those are mostly less expensive than the hotels, and you just go grocery shop a little bit, and take what you need for breakfast, for example, and then you already saved more money than with the hotel rooms. That's also an idea I can give you.
this is how Patrick and I did it the last time when we were at the Vegas conference. We just had an Airbnb, but a lot of other people were in the hotels that you suggested, right? So when time comes, Maddie will definitely have some options available, which should be good for
And
Hexicans
people
to
in
use.
Vegas are on that, so I can tell you that.
But let's talk about the conference because people are so interested in that, right? We talk about that at the end of our workshop as well. Where should people go right now to learn more about the Hex conference?
Hexconference.com.
Hexconference.com. And then also I like to always chill the hexpo.online because that's where Patrick and I will be speaking as well next year. And it was so much fun. This was the first event pretty much where the whole community came together.
That's
Right.
right.
You had the
In a
speakers.
educational purpose, yeah. So at first we had like those 24-hour live streams, and then Maddie said, even if we are now in a pandemic, we need to bring the community together. We need to bring all those valuable people together. So he went ahead and put together this Hex online conference, the Hexpo, no, the Hex online conference 2021. What is the name? Hex
Hexchange.live.
Change. Hex, yeah, the
Yeah.
Hex Change 2021 was the title, and so we came together for that. I guess about 40 individual people from the ecosystem, from the Hex streamers and Hex experts, came together and give keynotes, give their thoughts. Even Richard made like a nice keynote in the end of that. So was an awesome 4-day experience, and it was feeling like being there live sometimes.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
And somebody is asking for a visual video where they can see and listen to the T-shares and how they work. So I just forwarded the one video that we have, 4 minutes video talking about T-shares. If you guys click on that, it was made by an OG Hexican a long time ago, but Crypto Sparbook is of course working on a video with animations to explain T-shares as well. So just wanted to bring that up because somebody asked for that.
And I have a playlist at hexcontract.com that has 3 of those same type of videos that helps explain what hex is for people who are brand new.
Awesome. I mean, everybody is just giving their best to educate the people about Hex. And this is so important. I think this is the reason why Hex will go viral, because every single person that we onboard, and then I ask them how if they onboard others, and they say, "Yeah, of course, I already onboard my family and friends and so on." And this is just amazing to see how people really bring that out to their friends and family to make them wish as well.
That's right. Yeah, it's incredible.
And it's such a awesome currency what we have here. It's just a family friendly currency because nobody just buys hex only of the sake of speculate or trading it. They are just like, okay, I can put money here, and then I can decide for how long I want would like to hold on to it. And the longer I hold on to it, the more interest I get. And even if I hold on to it only for a short period of time, I also get interest if I stake it. So they like the concept, and what they do then is just try it out, and by trying it out, they get to experience the awesomeness of Hex, and then they are Hexicans as well.
Right. So what I do right now is I will bring up the calendar that we sent to somebody just recently, and then we can discuss the next week maybe already. Because right now we're in St. Louis, but we are driving to Chicago, and Maddie will join us for that. So let me really quick bring up the calendar here, and then we can talk about Chicago.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I have it in my brain more or less. So tomorrow we drive to Chicago and set everything up. Then on Monday we have like a preparation day. On Tuesday we drive to Johnny Chaos and he will host us there. And in the evening we have a casual meetup there in a brewery. All the details for that you find on freedomtv.info. Then on Wednesday we have a casual meetup in our Airbnb in Chicago. On Thursday, I'm looking forward for that day. We go to a basketball game. It's the Chicago Bulls versus the New York Knicks, and we have a great penthouse suite in the in the stadium. So there will be definitely a cool experience. Looking forward to that. And then on Friday, the actual workshop in Chicago, and that's basically the week. Because Saturday, I guess we will focus on some more content creation, maybe go through the city and make some pictures. We always like to put our cars in front of nice sites and then make pictures with it. It's Yeah.
Unfortunately, I'm not done screenshotting our calendar. I thought I had it like right here. I will be done in a second, but I want to talk about Chicago, where we have the meetup, the basketball game, and the workshop. And right now, if you're watching and you are close to Chicago, everybody can attend those events. Of course, for the basketball game, we only have 20 tickets available, but everybody can buy a ticket, and then we meet them in the halftime, for example, or we meet them before the game. And also, everybody who has a basketball ticket for this event can hang out with us one day before at the casual meetup. So this is what I do. I just wanted to show to the people so they have it um, in front of them as well. And then please, guys, come in contact with us on US Road Trip Telegram chat, and that's where we do all the planning. That's where you can ask the questions about, hey, when does that start? Where do we go? And so on.
Yeah, and all the details for the addresses and so on you find on freedomtv.info.
freedomtv.info. That's where I send everybody every single time, because there is our whole schedule, the tour plan, and so on. So here we go with the calendar, and I will just screen share that really quick so everybody can have a watch at this. So yeah, there we go. Here's our calendar. So today is the 23rd. Tomorrow is just going to be a driving day to Chicago. How long do we drive to Chicago, Maddie?
It's about 6 hours from here.
6 hours.
5 hours maybe.
I was hoping
5.
it's gonna be a smaller drive this time. So and then on Monday our German live stream. Please attend to that
But you
as
you
well.
already did the longest drive, so don't worry. It won't get longer than you did from Denver to St. Louis.
The 13 hours drive to St. Louis, man, it was really hard to do. But I drove it in 1 piece. Like you
No,
divide
no,
it up in 2 days, right?
I stopped in Kansas City. I was done driving when I came to Kansas. I was like, "What? Hour outside of Kansas? Like, what? Still 5 hours to go?" And then I just called T Money and said, "T Money, book me a hotel room in Kansas City. I'm done driving."
And the times that I'm quoting are going the speed limit.
I'm always going the speed limit. Of course, I would never drive above that. So, and then you see on the 26th here is a Johnny Chaos event. Um, it will be a big event where we meet at a restaurant, right? Also a casual meetup. You can just hang out. You find all the informations on freedomtv.info. But here's the next big thing. You see it on the 27th, the casual meetup. And that's where I would love to have everybody with us. So if you want to go to a basketball game, also come to this casual meetup as well. So we can hang out with you guys, because this is the reason why we do the tour, because we want to meet the Hexicans on the streets, talk to them, and yeah, just have some hex talk.
And I know I'm going to be doing Quanking on Tuesday night, so I probably won't be there at Johnny's thing. Although it's my understanding that he will be at the Chicago Bulls meetup, and so I'm looking forward to seeing him there.
Yeah, Johnny is definitely coming the 26th, 27th, and 28th to the basketball game. And I guess he's coming to the workshop as well, just as you should as well. If you are available, if you're close in Chicago, come to our events. It's always so much fun. Like
Yeah.
the workshops, they came to be OG meetup somehow, right? There are always
It,
some
it's a
OGs.
mixture. It's always a mixture between OG meetup and new people getting onboarded, and that's the beauty of it. Because always in the audience there is like some OGs sitting next to the no coiners, and then helping them setting up the smart wallet addresses and explaining something about that as well. So it's always a nice mixture.
Crypto Sparbook
Yeah,
Mello has already put in the link for our Telegram chat. It is US Road Trip chat for the chat, but also the subscription channel, just US Road Trip. And then you can follow everything that is important. Patrick posts there really, really regularly.
Chicago is going to be probably the biggest event so far in the tour. That's what we're looking at here with the number of RSVPs we've gotten, and it's usually way more than even RSVP is how many people show up. So I'm really excited to see this start to blow up in Chicago.
But also there are a lot of people that do not RSVP but come anyways, which is really, really great as well. But of course, if you do RSVP, this would help us a lot planning ahead. So go ahead to freedomtv.info and try to RSVP as and on many dates as you can. So the chat is filling up. It is great. The viewers are always going up and up and up while we are streaming. I love that. So guys, if you have a questions towards us, please feel free to ask all of that. And yeah, what else is there to discuss? While we were streaming 1 hour ago in our German stream, something great was going on. So let us bring this up and talk about what was happening here. So
So tell me when you have the screen share up and running.
yep, 1 second. I'm on it right now.
So because just recently, about an hour ago, we got a new big player in Hex. So somebody took 1 million USDC from Coinbase, sent it to his new wallet, and made a market buy of a little bit over 3 million Hex, and then staked it right away. The only thing what I don't know right now is for how long he staked it, but it's really impressive to see taking 1 million bucks, putting it into Hex, and then stake it right away.
So while you were talking, I was showing that on the screen share. Patrick always likes to go to backuphex.com and then shows how the people are staking. I cannot do that because I do not use crypto on this laptop. So I do not have MetaMask on here. But if you have, it is so interesting. Just go there. We can just also put this link in the description.
But go at stakehex.today.
That's even better. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
go
have.
at go do that now.
Oh, you want me to do that?
Yeah, of course you have the
Oh, and there,
laptop.
there I can emulate.
Yes, there you can put the address of the guy into it, and there I'm not sure if you see the pending stake as well. Matty, do
Okay.
you know that?
Dot today.
Hex.today.
Yeah, stakehex.today. No.
All right, stake hex today. I've not been able to check that site out, but
Of
other
course,
Hexicans came.
we already showed it on our live stream, but I had the stream share on. Um, and Maddie, do you know if pending stake is viewable there?
Probably.
Let's find it out. I would say
Yeah, I just clicked on emulate stake right now, and now I will do the screen share, and we are good to go to look at backup hex. No, not at backup hex.
it's stake hex
I'm just
dot
so old school.
today.
Yeah, I always use the
I mean,
old
it's
stuff.
also a good source. So
I like the domain name too because it tells you what to do.
Oh, I love it. It's like a call to action, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
So here we see it. The screen share is already on. I just have to bring it here.
Also, a shout out to the
So click on
community
current.
member who brought the site together. He is a great, smart guy, and nice to have him in the community.
So yeah, here we see he staked for 2023 as I see, and
That's fine.
the interest is $11,000 per day. Wow, this is amazing. And then the total 1.7.
For what price? No, that must be like for a different hex price. There
It
is
just
no
says
chance that.
interest 11,000 here.
Now, how much TCS does he has with his stake?
As I said,
351.
Uh-huh.
351.
351. So he makes about 2,100 hex a day times 0.3. He makes about $650 a day.
Oh, interest today up there.
oh, there it
That's
is.
what
Yep,
it says.
648 only in one day. How freaking awesome is that?
And this is the total amount. The 11,000 is the total amount of interest earned so far,
In dollars.
which doesn't make sense
Yeah.
unless there were already stakes
Emergency
in
and
this
stakes.
account. Is this an
Are-
older
are the-
account?
Is it the old account? Maybe.
No, it's only got.
No,
let me go
it
back up.
created. The account was created today.
Oh, it has
actually.
2 stakes.
One liquid hex.
And one liquid hex.
Yes.
Okay, he didn't put like max. It's fine.
Gotta
Let's
keep it
round
on
up.
keep it on the active
That- that-
wallets.
maybe
you know?
that's like just like a 0.85 hex or something like that. That's why it's rounded up to one.
But it shows us that still people are buying hex and staking. I love that so much. We see it on
Yeah,
the
that
blockchain.
will
right?
never end, man.
It will never end. Yeah.
That will never end.
Somebody in the chat is also saying 2 stakes. Yeah, maybe they looked at this address already. Oh, and Mello's saying he staked it until 1st of January 2023. One stake on 1st of January. Yeah, and second stake somewhere else. So all right, so this is the big news that we had, what just recently happened 1.5 hours ago.
Yep.
What else is there going on? The chat is pretty quiet right now. If you have any questions, remember to ask them so we can go on. So, Maddie, is there anything that you would love to discuss?
You have any questions for us, maybe?
Yeah, I never hear any questions from our interviews towards us.
Let's see. So, what do you guys see as a way? So what's one thing that you're doing with the tour that you're most proud of?
You go first.
I go
So
first,
I'm
and you
with
can.
Mello here.
Okay. The giveaways and to see like the joy in the face of the people after the giveaways.
That's nice.
For me, it's definitely that. Well, I get into contact with people really a lot right now, right? And this was not my normal behavior when I started traveling in Mexico. I was really shy. I was not going anywhere. Maybe I would go to the beach and see people there, but the rest of the month, like 3 months, we were just sitting at the pool, working on Hex, and did not communicate with people so much. And now I'm open. I feel a joy talking to the people, to the Hexicans, and then it's so amazing that I have the feeling they know me already, right? They watched so many streams of me, and I know them too because we have the same topic, Hex. I just ask them how long do you stake and so on, and then people invite us to their homes, to their family dinners and so on. And this is what I'm pretty proud of, that I was able to overcome my fear, to be so close. But now I'm open, and the biggest change for me. That's what I'm proud of.
Yeah, this was also a nice experience when we a few workshops back, somebody called us, guys, before you leave the city tomorrow, I just bought a house with my hex gains, please come over here, just moved in, I know it's a little bit like my boxes are around, but come over here, and it's a nice spot, it's like the best house in the neighborhood with perfect view and so on. So next day we went up there, had a great photo shooting, a great conversation as well. And it always feels like meeting like-minded people when you meet the Hexogs.
Oh yeah, for sure.
That's epic.
Morton is saying, question, relatively newbie here, so let's not go too hard on him. How do we know hex and pull chain will not be rug pulled, or some other technical problems need to be fixed before hex and pull chain will not be rug pulled, or some other technical problems need to be fixed before hex and pull chain will not be rug pulled, or some other technical problems need to be fixed before hex and pull chain will not be rug pulled. And I need to unmute myself. Did people not hear what I was just saying? Okay, so I guess now everything should work out good again. So what did we talk about? Morton is saying, question, relatively newbie here, so we will not go too hard on you. You had a great question. How do we know that hex and pull chain will not be rug pulled, or some other technical problems, or being hacked in the next 15 years? Hex is an finished product, 3 times ordered, 100% uptime since 2 years. We mention it all the time because other crypto projects are not like that. So Patrick, can Hex be hacked in the next 15 years?
No, Hex cannot be changed, Hex cannot be hacked, and there is no chance that somebody can get in a smart contract without any admin keys. It's just not possible. So it's not possible to hack Hex. But there was another part of the question as well, which was the rug pull question. And here we also can tell you this will not happen because the biggest supporters of the currency are also the biggest actors in the liquidity pools.
Yeah, and also let's talk about how many people, what kind of people will have the power on pull chain, right? So a lot of
So
Hexicans
can I
sacrifice.
weigh in on the
Sure.
question
Please.
myself? We don't know that Hex will have no problems into the future, but we do know that it's designed better than any other cryptocurrency. There are over 60,000 different cryptocurrency experiments going on, and Hex stands out from the crowd in so many different ways. We can even point to the game theory of Hex, because when you have so many people who are staked, when you have thousands of people staking for an average of 6 years, or tens of thousands of people staking for an average of 6 years, and they keep buying more, right? Gary just bought $900,000 more of Hex the other day. Like, there's still people who have not sold anything, and they're just accumulating more and more wealth, right? So when we look at the game theory, we could say, even if something broke, we have this huge group of smart, motivated people who would want to put it back together and then make it work from there. And so Bitcoin doesn't have that. Ethereum doesn't have that. Bitcoin and Ethereum, they need a team of developers to keep their blockchain from messing up. Ours, Hex, does not need a team of developers because the code is finished and it was launched in a way that makes it so you don't have to maintain it. It's not editable. It's not going to be open to a lot of the problems that we're seeing with these other cryptocurrencies. Even Bitcoin itself has had a number of problems where they had to kind of roll back the chain and fix something because there was a bug in it. We're much less likely to see bugs in Hex than in other cryptocurrencies, in my opinion. And then we've got the staking mechanism of people coming together, being long-term thinkers, and being able to address, for example, the fee problem, right? And maybe that's a good transition to the pulse chain discussion, because we did see a problem with the environment outside of Hex, right? The Ethereum network that Hex gets its proof of work security from has gone from being a world computer, which allowed cheap transactions, to being supposedly a store of value, right? And that makes it so the transactions are too expensive for most people. It's $50 to send a coin, $150 to do a swap, and that's not good for anybody. And so
Yeah, that's not sustainable as well.
that's right, correct.
I think it's so funny that we are talking about rug pulls because this is what happens in crypto all the time. But the crazy thing is, in Hex, everybody was waiting for rug pull. Like people were the haters, right? Giving us so much
Yeah, like
shit.
how the whole market told us like after big beta, this is like the uh at the latest their hex will die.
And
They
still
were
Hex
saying
is
like a
around.
year
So
ago.
everybody was waiting for the rug pull, and now we'll share this screen share here. We were not doing any rug pull. We were doing a magic carpet ride, and Hex is just going up and up and up since. So the people, the reality, they think, yeah, Hex will die. The opposite is true, though. We are going on a magic carpet ride to $7 soon. So I cannot wait.
People said at a penny, this is the end, right? People said at 5 cents, this is the end. I'm late to the game, so there's no reason to buy now. Well, look at the chart that compares Bitcoin in its first 2 years or Ethereum in its first 2 years to the chart of Hex. They're behaving extremely similarly, and the Hex is headed right on the same footsteps of history, up and to the right. And so the price continues to perform, not only because we know this is possible from Bitcoin and Ethereum, but also because Hex is designed better.
So Bitcoin made a 6.7 million X in the course of what is it now, nearly 13 years. And as the crypto market is way more matured right now, as we have better fundamentals when it comes to Hex, as we have better design when it comes to Hex, I personally am convinced that Hex will make more gains than those overall Bitcoin gains in 50% of the time. And this would bring each and every hex coin to $369 in 2026.
So I have a question here from MOT. What do you guys think the EOY price will be 2021? End of year price,
What is
right?
the EO? What?
End of year price?
Also, of hex or what?
Yes, it's so hard to say because we have the pull chain for coming up, and I think it all depends on that event.
I know what it's going to be.
You know when it's gonna be? Oh, man, Maddie always has those information. So let me ask you, when it's gonna be?
Okay, so Quant Gang 40 weeks ago, when the price was 7/10 of a cent, our first ever episode, we predicted $10.01 Hex at the end of this year.
$10.01. I go.
We're
with
at
that.
33 cents now, or 30 cents. That's already a bigger jump than we need to get to $10 now. So not financial advice. Like, nobody can predict when other people are going to buy and sell. What we can predict, though, is that Hex will continue to operate flawlessly, and that it's got the right game theory really to set it apart from every other crypto project.
I will make a huge party if this price comes true.
Huge party at $10 for sure. Somebody else is saying $1.67, $1.11. Hex Monkey is saying $10 no way. But do you remember, Maddie, when I said Hex gonna be $7 one day and everybody was laughing, and then we did like 10,000 X and nobody's laughing anymore?
Yes, I remember that.
Nobody's like, crypto can go higher than we ever imagined. 10 years ago, if we would tell anybody Bitcoin would reach 65,000 K, nobody would believe you.
So let's pick that apart a little bit, because I find it's helpful to give examples. So if you put $200 into Bitcoin at a penny, which by the way is not the lowest it ever traded, we're like being generous when we say Bitcoin did a 6 million X from a penny to $60,000 per coin. Really, you could take 7/10 of a cent and now you're getting a way higher number. But even this is like conservatively speaking.
Yeah, that's why, for example, when you look it up at hexgraphs.com, you see over 10 million X.
And what you also can do, you can go to Twitter and look for old, yeah, price calls when people sold their Bitcoin at $100, $1,000. So I always ask the question in the workshop, what do you guys think? How many people really got rich on their Bitcoin
Yeah, like
and
how many people catched
catch the
those?
6.5 million X? It's only the people that were rich already that had not to sell their Bitcoin too early, and so many did. And why are we protected in that hex line?
So remember, let's just kind of zoom out again. First, to understand, if you put in $200 at a penny, that means now you would have $1.2 billion with a B. That's how much money you would have with your 6 million X from $200, right? So this is such mind-boggling wealth, right? This is so hard for the brain to understand, right? This exponential growth. And it's so literally your brain can't process, right? Your meat computer inside your head is not able to understand something. And so no wonder everybody sold their Bitcoin who bought it a penny. No wonder they all sold at $100 or at $1 or at $10, because they already had millions and millions of dollars of gains, but they had nothing incentivizing them to hold on to the Bitcoin. There was no other side of the coin for them.
Besides the speculation.
Correct. So they would have traded and lost money that way. They would have gotten in on other coins that didn't turn out to do as well. And then they would have also created the cardinal sin, I say, of crypto, which is to start a business with your crypto gains instead of staying with a winner that can do something even better than Bitcoin did.
I think Dan Ammons has a really good take on that. He's in the chat right now. He's saying people always love to do the moonboy math about how Hex or Pulse has will do 1000x and so on or whatever, right? But the fact of the matter is, it takes balls, and you will experience massive swings in your net worth in order to hold true massive multiply, like 90%, 80% swings. This is really hard. In the beginning, I did not sleep at all, basically. Your network is a lot, then the next day it's nothing anymore, you feel like shit. It is so hard, and if you have done it, then you have to be proud on yourself. It's so hard to
But
get through that. But
you
when you
grow on
stake,
those waves.
when yeah, you grow,
You
definitely
grow on
grow.
those
And
waves.
when you stake, then you get a peace of mind, because then suddenly you understand, well, I'm not going to sell anyways. Of course the price went down, but I'm staked, I cannot even sell, and I'm earning interest on that. So you mentioned, if you put in $100, $200 in Bitcoin, like 10 years, $200 in Bitcoin, then you would have so many gains, even with the B, right? You would have billions.
Yeah,
And now think about it.
1.2B. But if you did that with Hex, and then you say, okay, 10 years, and in those 10 years, at least you 5x your money, because so when it comes to Hex, 10 years, at least 5x more Hex. So that would be already like 6 billion then.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If you stake your Hex, then you have even more than this one B. You have like maybe $6 or $7 billion in the future.
And if you sold on every double in Bitcoin, you would have had some really small amount of money in the end, right? Like, so that strategy just totally would have wrecked you. So it's not a matter of timing the market. It's a matter of how much time you have in the market. So time in the market, not timing the market.
Yeah, because timing the market is so hard. If you just take the 20 best performing Bitcoin days and subtract that from the 6 million X equation, you're under way under a million X. So only the most gains what Bitcoin did, also the most gains what Hex did, they are doing this in a few days throughout the year. So you need to just wait and be staked the entire year. You always get more, but then you are able to catch those insane days as well.
And it's not without people staking that it's possible for the price to move up so much, because Hex is a system that balances itself. You're getting paid more to hold up the price when the interest that you're receiving is in Hex terms. It's paid in Hex. And so That way, what you're doing when you give up the right to sell, that helps to keep the price high. And you get rewarded for that, not only with HEX interest, but also in price appreciation and then adoption, right? As more people adopt HEX, there's going to be more demand and possibly less supply out there. And so that's why staking is so important and why it's important to understand where the value comes from. Because with a lot of coins, it's worth it for them to try to brainwash you, to give you advertising, to try to tell you that their coin is the best and use psychological tricks on you, because the business of creating new money is so profitable, right? If you are out there making your own coin and you convince people to buy it, you could be getting millions and millions of dollars to add to your marketing budget to convince more people. We don't see that happening with Hex. The founder is not sponsoring this road tour. The founder is not, setting up the Hex conferences and stuff. These guys are paying the bills for this road tour. These guys are raising the funds to give away Hex to new people, are making business deals with Staker app, to allow more people to learn about it, but also for Staker app to donate lots of money when it comes to smart wallets. I mean, there's a lot of things I think that make so much sense in Hex, but keeping that in mind, right? That there's going to be a lot of energy put into not telling the truth, into other coins trying to steal your attention, and you just become more and more of a high value target for those marketing campaigns. If I was trying to scam you, I would probably be targeting people who are Hex rich, because even a small percent of their portfolio would create a really nice pump and dump, right? And so that's why staking also protects you from yourself. And so it also protects you from, switching your plans up too much. When you create a financial plan to save for your future and pay your future self, and then you stick with that, it doesn't matter who tries to convince you to buy a shitcoin, because your money's locked. And that's in Bitcoin, that would have saved you billions of, $1 billion, like hundreds of millions of dollars would have been saved for you to be more patient in Bitcoin. We already see so many people in Hex are staking longer than Bitcoin has existed. And if that doesn't show you people believing in a system and a system already working, then we need to have a talk.
So I see already you love the staking mechanism, that you have to be truthful for the code, otherwise you will get annihilated, right? You stake for 15 years, you mentioned that, and it has a lot of health benefits. You talked about that on Hex Therapy already. It makes sure you do not do mistakes by selling too early, because you staked for such a long time. But many, the staking length was 4.8 years 1 year ago, right? Now we are already way higher at 5.75 years. Where do you think it is going? And can you give a good advice for a newbie to come in? And how long would be a good average staking length for a personal guy? Because I made my staking letter so that I'm staking a little bit longer than the average.
I love this question. I think it's going to come down to who we market to and who we spend our time onboarding. If we take our time and we don't rush onboarding, we onboard people that we care about, and we give them a full explanation of the power of Hex, then I think that the average staking length will increase. Whereas I think if we post ads on Instagram, or if we're putting stuff on buses and billboards and bringing in people who really don't understand, it's going to take them longer to figure it out. And their initial investments are going to be made with more short-term thinking. And that's one of the things that I don't think I would have given that answer, which I think is a better answer than if I tried to guess who we're going to, be onboarding the most. It's because yesterday at the Hex workshop, I was able to talk to somebody who had, been realizing that they could think more long-term because of your guys' presentation.
Cool.
Thank you.
Very cool.
Yeah, I mean, there was one question I got yesterday in the workshop, in the Q&A, and it was like, man, I don't know like that I'm not able to hold on like for 15 years to my money.
Yeah.
And the advice I gave the dude was just use the whole timeline you have here with Hex, but what you can do is decrease your principal, and then the money you put onto this 15-year mark, onto this 10-year mark, just is money what you definitely can afford to lose, which is money when it's not here, it doesn't have an impact of your life. And I guess by doing that he was like, huh. And I hope now he can go ahead, use the whole timeline, and just take the amounts, certain amounts, to certain days, and then he will be fine in the future as well.
I'm so happy that I staked long term right away. If I asked the OG Hexicans, everybody did something like this, 15-year stakes and so on. Newer people, if I ask them, of course they're a little bit more cautious about their staking lengths because the ETH fees are so high right now. I would have not staked like, let's say, $1,000 for 15 years because there's a lot of money to me. But I staked $10, and then Hex went up 10,000x, and now I have a good stake coming for me in 15 years. I advise everybody to do the same.
Do we know how long our new squid staked today?
The $1 million guy who just bought today.
That was till
2023 January.
2023.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay.
which is,
And the
I think,
second
a little
stake
bit too
as well,
short.
but I don't know like how long the second stake is.
So I have a good question here. I just have to find it. And we only have 8 minutes left for today. You guys know the Crypto Sparbush stream is always really short and on point. So, Patrick, the one thing that I saw here again,
Mhm.
just as in the German stream as well, can you give an elevator pitch for T-shares really quick?
Sure, I can give an elevator pitch for T-shares. So, uh, when it comes to Hex, you're your own bank. Only you can decide how much of your Hex you want to put in a stake for how many days. You can make one stake, you can make several stakes, and by doing so, the your Hex gets converted into those T shares or into shares. The T in front of the word share just stands for the mathematical term trillion. So if you get a whole T share, it means you have a trillion shares. If you have less than that, you still have a lot of shares. And by staking out longer, you get more shares. And the key when it comes to Hex is keeping your shares as long as you can. And the longer you keep them, the longer you stake them from the get go, the better your return of investment will be. Maddie, what is your take on T shares?
I got an elevator pitch for you for
Yeah, go
T-shirts.
ahead.
It's like it's like the famous Stanford marshmallow experiment where they ask the kids, you want one marshmallow now or two marshmallows in the future? And having T-shirts is choosing to have more in the future, and that's paid out through interest, and it's only available to people who time lock their money and pay their future self.
So here I have a cool question because the T-shares, you have them for a long time as long as you say you want to have them, right? If I stake for 10 years, I have my T-shares for 10 years. When do I get the interest? After those 10 years. And I think this is really important. So here's the question from Money. He said, wouldn't it be better one could cash out the interest once a month, for example, via a button called interest button, and then you click on it, you receive your interest and you stake it. Like, why is that not a good solution? Because this is how the market already works, right? But now not being able to get your interest right away, but you choose when to get it, it saves the whole system. It delays the inflation into the future even more. So what's your take on that, Patrick? Would you like to have a button where you can click
No,
in and get instant
no,
gratification?
because I'm my own bank and I choose from the get go. Okay, I make a 2 year stake, I make a 3 year stake, I make a 4 year stake, and I make a 15 year stake, and I use the whole timeline possible. And as I'm my own bank, I can choose my own level of flexibility I want to have and how often I want to harvest some of my interest. And so I just sat down and put together my personal ladder how I want to have it, and then staked it. And now I'm already at the point where I can start collecting some of my interests because I started from the get go and we are almost 2 years in.
If you would be able to get your interest anytime you want, I think there would not be any safety. There would not be chart of future market supply, for
Yeah,
example.
and
No.
also like this whole delay gratification thing would be obsolete because the most amount of interest gets to the people who hold on to the coin for the longest amount of time.
Wow, Woody 10K said it so beautifully. Delayed gratification is the game, and time value money is the principle. And Hex is the hardcore version of that. Because in Hex, if you tell the blockchain how long you stake, you cannot cheat the system.
Yes.
I love how he
I
said that.
I think it I think a version of that is possible now with doing shorter stakes and renewing them. And I think at some point there's going to be an automatic way to do that. And so I think there will be a version of paying interest along the way, but it's not going to be paying the highest interest because at the end of the day, the system has to check itself and say interest is only paid to the people who are holding up the price. And these are the rules. The interest gets paid at the end of the stake. Now, if people are wanting monthly interest, then you're going to be doing monthly stakes. And still the risk of that, other than the lower interest that you're receiving, is that you could get distracted by some other coin. You could get distracted by some other gratification that you would want to spend the money on. And so you're needing to renew your belief in the system. Whereas otherwise, if you just stake longer, you're going to save yourself from yourself. And in the end, prove your belief in Hex because that's how you get paid.
So I have here a really delicate question from True Moxie. In everything I've studied, I cannot find the game theory of why the OA gets half of the penalties. I know the OA is not a future, is a future, not a bug. So Patrick, tell us about the DOA and how does this the payout for the OA work?
Sure. So the OA got created to be a nice stabilization point in the whole ecosystem. It got created to just sit there with liquid hex that the free market can enjoy this high interest possibilities, and only true holders, only the staking class receives this. And then we have the truth engine. So if you choose to end your stake too early, or if you don't come back, or if you come back too late, you are getting hit by a penalty, and those penalties just get back to the staker class by 50%, and the other 50% go to the OA, which is not a bad mechanism. Everybody knows about it or can read about this in the smart contract of the Hex. So it's open readable. And yes, of every a penalty, 50% gets to the staker class, and the other half gets back to the OA itself.
And he is also asking, why is it like this? Like, couldn't it go all to the state class? Well, we did not design the code. Richard Hart did, and maybe he had
So
a game theory with that in
Mehdi,
mind.
what is your take on
yeah,
that?
yeah, I think like, most owners of companies, they keep a 51% control of the network or of the shares, right, of their company. Others, so for example, in crypto, you have a 51% attack, which is more computation based. But here, when we're talking about Hex, which is not open to a 51% attack because it is not proof of work, it's proof of stake, proof of work hybrid. What we're still finding, I think, is that's why it was designed to have at least half of the supply, was to protect in case of something contentious happening, a contentious fork, then the original address or the original architect could basically save the system by forking it and then deciding which one wins.
This is beautiful. I heard that before. You talked about that. This is great. Like, and anybody could fork Hex, right? It's not allowed, right? Because the license is not out. But the OA could stop people
It's
doing that.
illegal, but people could still do it technically because crypto's
Unregulated Wild West market.
yeah, decentralized. And so yeah, people who try to do that don't do very well, and they wreck people along the way. But the hex continues to be protected on all fronts, and that's another thing I would say. If you don't want to believe in the origin address, then maybe you need to reconsider your worldview, right? Because all it's shown is protecting the system, but we don't even have to just base it on what's been shown, because in crypto, the whole point is to rely on game theory to predict the future, to know what the economic policy and what the human psychology and what the economics is going to be ahead of time, right? Bitcoin is based on the game theory of assuming that you can predict that the miners aren't going to double spend because they're getting paid in Bitcoin and because they're staked with their electricity bills. And so why would they ruin something and make it worthless, something that they have to get the money out of, otherwise they won't be able to pay their electricity bill, right? And so that's why I think it's it's really obvious that everything that the OA has done, but also what we predict the OA will do will be benevolent, will be altruistic, will protect the system, because the incentives are lined up for it to do so.
And
That's my take.
I want to point out that the OA never sold a single hex, unlike the Ethereum Foundation, for example, where they sell the top regularly, like 2017. Just now they did it as well. It's crazy, and the OA did never do such a thing. I think it's disgusting for a foundation to sell their own coins just to make the price lower, so maybe they can save the ETH fees. I don't know what was the reason for that, but whenever Vitalik Buterin sells, the top in crypto is pretty much there, and I hate that.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's like, you can do whatever you want with your coins, but everybody's watching, right? So when Vitalik sells and dumps on everybody's heads, it's interesting that most people still believe in him. Whereas with Richard Hart, he's not selling the coins, right? And people are still having trouble believing. Well, I don't know what to tell you, right? It's kind of, if you already own something, you're going to defend it no matter how stupid you sound.
I hope you hear the opportunity in the sentences of Matti's voice.
And also, press is saying, not to mention that the OA is the reason we have such a great APY potential.
Yeah,
You
because the
mentioned that
coins
as
are
well.
just, yeah, I mentioned that because the coins are just there to sit liquid in those wallets forever.
Bitfinance has a great question as well. Hex is really a fortress for super. No, that's not the question I want to ask. I'm really curious. What kind of questions do typically are asked by new coiners at your events? So what I hear all the time is, where does the value come from? What does a hex price? Why does it go up and down, or actually any other asset? What is your take on that, Mehdi? Where's the value in hex, and why is the price killing Bitcoin so much right now?
Yeah. So all the different cryptos that are out there probably want to be known as a store of value, because that's one of the most valuable use cases for money. Money has different properties according to economists. It's a unit of account, which means you can understand what the price of something is when you think in dollar terms. It's also a mechanism for exchange, right? And so that means people can trade, that they don't have a coincidence of wants or needs, where the fisherman can't buy a computer because the computer guy doesn't need so many fish, right? So you can have a common currency that allows people to exchange their things, right? Their value, their goods and services. But then you have, well, maybe if you're going to use a money, then there's going to be a time component, right? And so that's where the store of value comes in to the equation, where money is something that has value that's stored in it over time. And so what we see is, in the past 600 years, there have been 6 different world reserve currencies that maintained their dominance for about 100 years. We also have a pandemic about every 100 years. And we've just had about 100 years of the US dollar being in full control. And so that's why the World Bank, said that they see a great reset or a new digital world reserve currency. But really, at the end of the day, it's up to people to decide where they put their value and where they see it. The reason why I think Hex has such a powerful use case as a store of value is because it's the closest thing to monetizing the time value of money, because it incentivizes people to time lock their money that they're not needing right now in order to get more later, right? And so that is something that is completely different from how the world is running right now, which is running on credit and debts and people borrowing from their future self. And then they get less in the future than they would have had if they paid up front and if they waited and delayed gratification. Technology makes more abundance in the future too. So like that's why money has a time value, is because the price of things goes down as the technology makes the world a better place or more efficient. And so people who are waiting and who are getting their share of the system, right? If they're, it makes sense that interest rates exist. And so it makes sense that Hex is the best store of value and has the most value to it, because it's literally representing people's delayed gratification and causing and incentivizing that. And so that gives it the best game theory out of any money, including the dollar.
And you mentioned the game theory. I think because Hex has this game theory, people gonna buy it. But let me ask you this again for Patrick. Where do you think the value of Hex come from, and why do you never use any indicators on your charts? You just look at the charts and take it from there. What does really matter for price?
The only thing what matters for price is buying and selling, and the only thing what matters for number go up is more buying pressure than selling pressure.
And we showed it today in our stream, right? The guy who bought $1 million worth of Hex, 3 million Hex, he bought that. The price went up to 33 cents. What did he do? He staked for 3 years. He will not sell that Hex for the next 1.5 years at least. And new people are coming in. And this is why the price is so steadily rising in Hex. Of
And
course, we
it's
always.
not, but when you say new people are coming in, it's the truth, but it's not necessarily. So what we also see on the blockchain is that old people, rich people who might have like multiple streams of income still go ahead and buy more hacks and buy more hacks and buy more hacks, because they just see how beautiful the system is and that only they control the money and nobody else has access to their money. So they just like to put their money to hacks, and then they can just make another 5555 stake, and a year from now they can make another 5555 stake, and by doing that they just build their staking ladder up and keeping it dynamic.
Oh,
Now, if somebody asked in, like, let's say in a workshop or in a personal conversation and they were new to Hex, then I might say something like, why does Hex have value? I might start off with, money goes to where it's treated best, right?
oh,
And
that's
then
that's Kareem here, right there.
let them.
That's scary.
Well, it's Hexter's pyramid, which I renamed from Exter's pyramid, which is like showing that the hardest money, right, with the least inflation and the most value, is going to be the one that people hold on to and they get rid of their other currencies. So anyway, like, without digressing into something more advanced, if somebody was asking why does Hex have value, then I might say money goes where it's treated best. And then they can ask me, well, what do you mean by that? Or how does Hex treat people better than other money?
I just heard it the first time from Kareem, where he said, "Money goes where it's treated best," and I think it's so beautifully put. It's the perfect sentence for the end of our show. I had a fun time with you guys talking with chat, of course. So, guys, if you liked our stream as well, please feel free to give us a like and subscribe. Hit the bell because we're a little bit regular, so we really want to have a notification on your phone when we go live.
Yeah, so also from my side, thanks for being out there, thanks for supporting the channel, and also for you, Maddie, thanks for being here on our show today and also on the tour. I hope you have a lot of fun here on the Hex 5555 tour together with us. Hope to see you as much as possible till the Hex conference. Again, for everybody out there, check out hexconference.com. I hope to see each and everybody there in Vegas next year. And have a great rest of the week, great weekend, good start in the next week, and all the best, guys. And Maddie, anything from your side?
Yeah, the last words go to you. Where do people
Yes.
find you? Where do people find out more about the online and the physical conference?
You can find everything I've ever done at mattyall.in. So MATIALL.IN. And that will take you to all my links. I wanted to definitely thank you guys. It's been my honor and pleasure. You guys are outstanding, and I can't speak highly enough of you. I can't wait to see where this tour takes us. And for those of you at home, stake wisely, my friends.
Thank you. Beautiful words, Mary. It means so much. Those words coming from you. This is why we do the tour. We want to connect with OGs and all the other Hexicans, and having just those talks with all the guys is what is fueling us to do more workshops in the future as well. So thank you everybody for coming to the Hex Crypto Sparbook today. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we see us next week.
Yes. Goodbye, everybody.